Kids' movies are great, but they're even better when they're littered with mature jokes. After all, there has to be something for the parents to laugh at after watching Cinderella for the 900th time, and these movies hit both marks, telling amazingly beautiful animated stories and making adults giggle with some crudeness. Before we begin, subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are some of the most hilarious adult jokes in kids' movies.
Men of Farquaads stature are in short supply.
Farquaads Big Castle. The DreamWorks breakout film Shrek was literally made to make fun of classic Disney films, and just so happened to become one of DreamWorks' biggest movies and franchises. But did you know that the whole character of Lord Farquaad is an inside joke in itself? Creator and founder of DreamWorks Jeffrey Katzenberg used to work for Disney and left for a lot of reasons, but a notable one was his, hatred for the Disney CEO Michael Eisner. Many say that Lord Farquaad's height, attitude, and face are all modeled after the old Disney CEO, and come on, look at what the name Lord Farquaad in itself sounds like. Knowing this, it makes the joke that the first Shrek slips in even funnier. Right before Shrek and Donkey enter the very Disney-like town of Duloc, Shrek's comments on huge sides of Lord Farquaad's castle suggest that Farquaad may be overcompensating for something. Us grown-ups all know the joke about a guy's manhood, but it's obvious that the joke is not only directed at Lord Farquaad, but also about Mike Eisner.
Play that Oedipus thing? Man, I thought I had problems.
Hercules, that Oedipus thing. Hercules is easily a favorite among many kids in the late 90s, but even this classic Greek tale has its little inside jokes. Now this one is so subtle that if you blink, you'll miss it. The joke appears in just one quick little line of dialogue when Meg and Hercules have just spent the day playing hooky from Hercules' hero's responsibilities. Much to Hercules' nanny goat Phil's chagrin, and Meg and Herc recount the events of their time together. Hercules says, "And that play, that Oedipus thing? Man, I thought I had problems." For those who aren't keeping up with their Greek tragedy plays, Oedipus is an old Greek story by Sophocles about a tragic hero and his flawed human nature. Most famously though, this play features Oedipus being married to his own mother. The play eventually becomes the background for everyone's favorite crazy psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud, who conceived the Oedipus complex theory, which says it's a son's will to sleep with his mother. The young audience almost certainly has no idea about this and just assumes Hercules is mentioning a Greek-sounding name. So yeah, Hercules is correct in saying that Oedipus does have bigger problems, and the joke is a great little Easter egg for any adult watching who has some knowledge of basic Greek history.
They cut my cord.
Oh, consider yourself lucky.
The Rugrats movie. The Rugrats were known for being pretty progressive for early 90s TV. The Nickelodeon show subverted gender norms, including gender roles among parents. It was diverse and even talked about different religions, all super important things for little kids growing up to learn and be exposed to, and the Rugrats movie made no exception with life lessons. In the film, Tommy, the Rugrats leader, gets a new baby brother named Dill, and he's not happy about it. The whole film is certainly wacky, but at the end of the day, addresses when the family grows in number, there's still enough love to go around. It's really a heart-touching sentiment. Tugging on our heartstrings aside, the Rugrats movie sees the central group of babies, Tommy, Phil, Lil, and Chucky, all go to try to find where the mysterious new babies are being kept. They stumble upon the prenatal nursery and decide to pick out a new baby that Tommy's mom would like. This explanation of the nursery triggers the song "This World Is Something New to Me," which features all the infants in the nursery singing about being out of the womb for the first time. There are some fart jokes and baby-related jokes in the song, but one more mature joke really stands out. One female infant says, "Hey, they cut my cord," referring to a baby's umbilical cord, and then a male baby says, "Consider yourself lucky," which is a subtle but again not so subtle way of saying the baby was circumcised, a practice that normally happens moments after a male baby is born. Way to slide that joke into the songwriters.
Bring her back, boys.
The Rescuers' Topless Woman. We are really throwing it back with this one. The original Rescuers is undoubtedly a classic. The glamorous and famous actress Ava Gabor lends her voice in this movie as the beautiful and jet-setting mouse Miss Bianca. If you haven't seen the film, you really should, as it features some pretty world-renowned voice actors. The Rescuers is about the Rescue Aid Society, a group of international mice, almost like the United Nations but for mice, who've decided to help abduction victims across the world. At the beginning of a particular song where the international mice sing about their purpose, there's a little in-joke about their mascot. It's a mouse pulling a thorn out of an injured lion's paw, referencing the old child story about a mouse saving a lion, which is an educational Aesop lesson about helping others no matter your differences. But the hidden Easter eggs in this tale aren't all that sweet and wholesome. A bit after this scene, where Bernard and Bianca get their assignment to rescue a kidnapped girl, they take off on a sardine can strapped to Orville the seagull's back. In the original cut of the film, when they fly past some windows on their flight, there is a very detailed topless woman in one of the windows. Again, this is another one of those blink and you'll miss it lewd jokes. Some animator stuck that in without the film exec's permission. Audiences noticed this in the first release of the film and complained mind, thus having the filmmakers go back and edit the image out.
All this for a loaf of bread? Whoa!
Aladdin can't pay up. Aladdin's animation is still so beautiful that it holds up today. But this rags to riches desert fairy tale is filled with small inside jokes. The merchant who introduces the movie at the beginning of the film, the goofy guy with the shop, yeah, that's actually Robin Williams. Rumor has it that Williams recorded a bunch of jokes for the scene too vulgar to ever be included in a kid's film. That being said, there are still some obscure mature jokes in the film. If you recall, when we first meet Aladdin, he's roaming the streets of Agrabah looking for food. Cue the song One Jump, which showcases a very clever and nimble Aladdin outsmarting castle security, all because he stole a loaf of bread, which is another inside joke from the musical Les Miserables. The lead character, Jean Valjean, steals a loaf of bread to feed his sister's starving children. The line Aladdin says right before the song One Jump is, "All this for a loaf of bread?" subtly hinting at the French musical. But let's get back to the hidden mature joke in the song, shall we? As Aladdin bounces around the street, outmaneuvering the guards, he finds himself in a room with a bunch of curvy ladies. Unbeknownst to the kids watching the film, Aladdin has landed himself in a brothel. At first, the girls flirt with him, but eventually kick him out. Why? Because Aladdin has no money to spend. You need money if you want to hang around in a brothel, thus, these girls quickly gave him the boot out the window.
You know,
Dirty, dirty Ratatouille. One wouldn't think that a movie about a rat who wants to be a chef would have this many dirty adult jokes in it. But you'd be wrong. Ratatouille is really an adorable film, but the dirty jokes are subtly placed everywhere. Like when Remy the rat and Linguini discover that Remy needs to help Linguini cook, so they smuggle Remy into the kitchen. This leads to them almost attempting to put Remy down Linguini's pants. This is easily the less crude among the jokes hidden throughout this Pixar movie though. Another is when Chef Skinner almost catches Linguini talking to Remy in the walk-in fridge. Linguini covers by saying he was just familiarizing himself with the vegetables. Chef Skinner kicks him out saying, "One can get too familiar with vegetables, you know." We aren't 100% sure what Chef Skinner is implying, but it sounds like having, relations with vegetables. Another quick joke in the film happens in just a flash, but this one deals with nudity. Kinda like The Rescuers. This short scene shows a guy painting a portrait of a topless woman. The scene pops up right after Remy gets washed away in the sewer and is climbing through the walls looking for food. The final lewd joke is when Linguini is trying to tell Colette about Remy being the true talent of the cooking duo, but being so awkward, Linguini stumbles on his words and makes an accidental joke saying he has a little chef. Yeah, not so subtle joke, but this jumbling of words causes Colette to look directly at his groin. We don't need to tell you what this joke was about.
My eyes can see straight through your armor. Oh!
Mushu sees all. This joke pops up really quick, but the consequences are pretty hilarious. This bit happens right when Mushu and Mulan first meet after Mulan's cool transformation into a soldier when she leaves home to join the army. Mushu seems like an all-powerful dragon, but in fact, as Mulan says, is more like a little lizard. Mushu demonstrates his dragon powers by saying, "My eyes can see straight through your armor," implying Mushu can see Mulan's chest, earning him a good smack across the face, which leads into one of the funnier bits in the whole movie, Mushu's rant about honor. Another joke from the Mulan movie is when Mulan, who's now going under the name of Ping at the warrior training camp, gets insulted by a fellow army man. Yow! Mushu takes offense and yells out, "Say that to my face, you limp noodle," thus inciting a huge army-wide fight that ends in spilling tons of rice all over the camp that all the warriors have to pick up. The whole limp noodle bit is a play on Yao's manhood. Eddie Murphy, who voices Mushu, says this line so quickly, you can barely hear that he's making a joke at Yao's expense. Pitching a tent in Emperor's New Groove. This whole movie should get more credit than it does because it's a gem in a sea of Disney movies. Starring David Spade and John Goodman as an unlikely pair, Emperor's New Groove features Emperor Kuzco, an awful, selfish emperor who wants to take over Patch's land to make his vacation home. Fabulous Eartha Kitt plays Isma, who wants nothing but Kuzco to be dead so she can rule. In a weird twist of fate, her assassination attempt doesn't work out, leaving Kuzco to become a llama. Sounds bizarre, but trust us, it's a good film. Isma's dim-witted assistant Krunk helps to try to locate Kuzco when he disappears. At one point in the film, Isma and Kronk are camping out, and Isma has a glamorous tent to sleep in, while Krunk sleeps on the ground with a small tent pitched right over his pelvis area. Many think this is a very subtle joke about the term pitching a tent, that the animators stuck in there. Low bar humor? Sure. Still hilarious? Absolutely.
Was it a bear? It's a bear!
There were no bears in San Francisco.
I saw a really hairy guy. He looked like a bear.
Inside Out Bears. The Pixar film Inside Out isn't where you'd think you'd find a San Francisco gay culture joke, but it's there. It's so well hidden, it makes it almost funnier. Riley, the brain of the girl that Inside Out takes place in, and her family move from her beloved hometown to San Francisco, which is the tipping point of a lot of the angst that the young character goes through in the movie. Riley's brain is controlled by 5 emotions: disgust, fear, anger, joy, and sadness. Joy and sadness, 2 of the emotions, go on their own major adventure through Riley's mind, leaving the other partially off-kilter emotions to run Riley's emotional state, which of course doesn't end well. At one point, while they're working with the emotions being control system, we get a small joke referring to the gay culture of San Francisco. While Riley is in her bed at the new house, she gets spooked by a noise and thinks it was the sound of a bear. Her emotions try to ease her fear by telling her it's not possible. Disgust says, "There's no bears in San Francisco," to which anger retorts, "I saw a really hairy guy that looked like a bear." A bear is just a term for a large hairy gay man. This joke just flies past the ears of kids and probably some adults too. Lion King SFX. Now, this is probably one of the most famous, most discussed Disney Easter eggs ever. In the scene where adult Simba is overwhelmed with the problems in his life, he collapses on a bustle of dewy dandelions and they disperse into the sky. The white fluttering parts of the weeds seem to spell out sex in the starry night sky, cementing itself as one of the most controversial Disney Easter eggs ever. But in fact, many say that it actually spells SFX, which is an acronym for sound effects. Many suggest that this was just an in-movie call-out to the SFX department on the film, or was it?
If I think about it, I might change my mind. Just tell me what the rat wants to cook.
There you have it. Which joke on the list was most scandalous? What's your favorite animated movie? Let us know in the comments section below, and be sure to subscribe to CBR for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.